when you told us to do self-portraits,
Yeah. Oh my.
I think I'm still missing. Well, boy, it looks washed out on the screen. It doesn't look.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, the values are right. I love the mix of colors of the skin tones. Very nice.
Well, the background was an experiment, so that was just, for fun, but that was fun. I have to tell you though, doing your self-portrait is, my God, you see every wrinkle. It's like, oh no.
I know, it's horrible.
Yeah.
But that was fun. I was running out of photographs, so I thought, well, what the heck, I'm a captive audience.
There's a number of reasons. First off, it's a easy subject to access. The other is that I think it does teach you a lot. When it comes to your skin tone and everything, you pay a little more attention,
Interesting. Yeah, it was fun. And I experimented with a little bit of stuff, like some of the Ted Nuttall arbitrary colors in the skin. And it was just it was fun.
It's really gorgeous in person.
Oh, well, thank you, Helen. Thank you.
Yeah, it was, that's really nice work. Glad to see that you're staying busy.
I am staying very busy. I finished up one for Florida Watercolor, and the second one is close. So I've never been this far ahead of the deadline, so I'm feeling good.
Oh, well, I'm feeling better now that I know that you're not finished with yours.
Yeah, you got to what, June 8th is the deadline?
6th.
Oh, June 6th.
Well, it's actually the 7th, but Helen, I said the 6th yesterday, given your experience of they cut off the
Right.
access a couple hours earlier than you were expecting. So it is actually the 7th, but we did a little Q&A at the Guild yesterday. Chuck Simmons, who's also like me, a P1, we know how to enter. We don't know how to win. We did a little Q&A for folks on stop worrying about how to frame it and figure out how to photograph, kind of what's a logical sequence. So
yeah,
that was fun.
Worry about the framing after you get in.
Exactly.
Hold on, I'm going to show you what I'm working on. Okay, it's a non-portrait. I haven't done very many of non-portraits, but I thought I would do this. I don't know if you can make sure you can see it. It's just temporarily framed, so I can see what it looks like. Let me change the view. There we go.
Oh, wow.
So
Neat.
it's not perfectly black and white, but it's these are cameras. I took a picture. I thought I'm just looking for something unusual that would get a judge's attention. And then that was my first go at it.
Yeah.
I'm not real sure yet I'm going to enter them, but I'm just trying to find something that would catch the judge's attention. And there's another one. So I'm going with, it's more realistic.
Very nice.
So
Is
anyway,
that- Is that your collection of cameras? That's pretty cool.
yeah. So we'll see. Yeah, the key is finding something that would catch somebody's attention. I think that's Robinson maybe. Let's see. Here we go. Let's enter them. And there's Patty too. Will and her. Oh, we got the gang here. Good morning, all. Let's do a check. Make sure your sound is working and your cameras are working. Patty, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Great day. My wife has been ill for the last couple of weeks, so I've been kind of out of sorts. I think she's getting a little better today. We went to the doctor. She's got some issues, so I've been kind of jittery about it. And there's Darla. Oh, good. We got the whole gang for the. Is this the last session?
It is.
Oh, we're gonna go out with a bang today.
That's what I'm afraid of.
I think I let everybody in, didn't I? Oh, they're joining. There we go. Hi, Rob.
Oh, good morning to you and everyone.
Rob's been sending me a little various quotes from people. It's been mostly pretty funny. And thank you for doing that.
Well, the last one was portraits, high school photo portraits of celebrities.
I have not looked at that one yet.
Oh, it's the best one yet, Ron.
Oh, I have to admit, I don't know if it says something. It's like talking to yourself when you laugh out loud when no one's around. Is that like talking to yourself?
Oh,
Or is it a tree falls in a forest? You know, that kind of,
Oh, yeah.
nobody's there to hear you. You don't know.
Yeah.
Is
that's a
there
good
something wrong
point.
with talking to yourself? I do it quite often.
That's a good point. Okay, everybody hey, where's Nora? She in yet? Let's see. Thought I admitted her. I'm gonna admit her again. Let's see, says she's joining. Come on, you can do it, Darla. She's joining, come on. Says she's joining. Yep. Nope.
She's trying to join on her phone. I think she's in New York.
Oh, man. I'd like for her to get on. She asked for some input on a few photos or a few paintings she was working on, and I was honest. I hope it didn't irritate her too much. You know, when somebody asks me their opinion, be careful.
No,
There she is.
I think the rule is don't ask if you don't want to know.
Yeah.
That's
Hey,
right.
Darla, can you hear us?
Now I can.
How about can
Can
you
you-
see us?
No.
Oh,
your
Just
video's
a
not
minute.
on, Darla.
yeah. You have to turn your camera on. You have to give access to. Are you on the phone?
Yes, I'm on a phone. I'm in New York.
Oh, there you
Oh,
are.
there you are.
Hi, Darla.
Hi
It
there.
doesn't look like New York.
It doesn't. I have on a great big thick vest. It was 46 this morning.
Oh,
Oh, send just a little bit of that this way, not much of it. Hey, Darla, I sent you my input on your paintings, and I hope I wasn't too critical. I was trying to give you some construction feedback.
I haven't checked my email. We've been doing lots of things, so
Okay, you
I
might want to
appreciate your
schedule
feedback.
some.
That's why I asked for it.
Okay, might want to schedule some therapy afterwards. Okay, let's get started. Today is Wednesday, 18th. The agenda today, what we're going to go over is a little focus on the nose. See if there are any open questions that you might have that we want to make sure that we include. And I've got a subject. I sent you the subject by email. And then talk about other things that are events that are coming up you may be interested in. So with that said, there we go. Anyway, this is a nose. Oh, before I do that, let me go back. I always get wound up and here we go. There it is. So anyway, quick test. There are two primary elements for creating shapes. What are they? Are they A, using varying values, B, cleaner palette, C, buy new paint and brushes, D, use colors of different values, or the splatter technique? Okay.
oh, this is just too difficult, Ron.
I know.
Yeah.
I have to be careful since once in a while somebody will pick one I have in there, it's kind of a dud.
I'll go
Hey,
with
there's Susan.
anyone.
Hi, Susan. I didn't say hi to you yet. It's nice to have you back live in person.
Live. Yeah,
Okay,
I'm
these
well enough
statements
to
are,
wear makeup.
oh, you're not wearing makeup?
I said I'm well enough to wear makeup now. I just
You
will
do.
go
You
into
look
coughing.
you look pretty good.
Well, thanks, Ron.
I don't want to ask what you look like before. You
No,
still have a
I'm
little
good.
cough yet, huh?
Yeah, I still test positive.
Oh, my.
I know, it's ridiculous, but that's okay. We're here for art, not me.
That's right. Yeah, we're here for me. I mean, for everybody.
No, for you,
so-
Ron.
Yeah, right. Hey, these statements are true or false. First, knowing my painting goals impact what and how I learn to paint. Is that true or false?
True.
The mouth is made of many values. The lightest value is the reflection of light.
True.
True.
True. Let's see if we have any false ones on it. The potential of my palette depends on what I will do, what I will spend on the new palette.
False.
Basically,
False.
yeah, in other words, how much paint you can buy. Pushing colors means I'm trying to sell my unneeded paint to friends. All right.
False.
Present.
Yeah. All right. I'm being a little pushy. So Marina, she's a neighbor across the street. She's Russian. I think I might have showed you her picture before. And I picked her because she has blonde hair and plus she was a willing subject. I photographed her and two kids, and today I'm going to photograph her husband. And they're getting ready to go live in one of the islands off Spain. Anyway, if you, one of the things that we're going to kind of talk about, if you look at the photograph, the direction of light, it's one light source. I did that on purpose to increase the dramatic effect it might have, and also to overplay the shadows. I sometimes use one, sometimes I'll use two, and the second one's a softer, lighter, not quite as bright. It would be directly in front of her to the left. Or sometimes I'll put a light on top, just a little bit to show the top of the hair. It kind of depends on what you're doing, but what I'm saying is you plan out when you take these photos. You don't just take a photo and say, hey, stop, take a photo. You're composing while you're doing it. I want you also to look at the skin tones and colors. This is, I painted this, and I'm going to show you versions just to show you the approach and how you can really focus and get good skin tones, and then also how you can really screw it up in a hurry. And the latter is what I'm really gifted at, but I'm working on it. And also, this has so much white in it. You have to be very disciplined to use, protect your white paper, or use masking fluid. And I use, I'll show you real quick, the masking fluid that I use, just a second. Can you see that? There we go. It's Pibio, but it's got that little thing over the E, so I'm thinking that's probably not pronounced correctly. Pebeo. I have used 5 different ones. Couple things I watch for is if you have any latex irritation, this is an irritant. It'll irritate your skin. What I like about it is, hope you can see this. You probably have I hope you've used it. If not, you can pour it over on the top of the lid, and you put it right back on the lid. Okay. Then I use a, it's not a rubber brush. Let me see if I can find it. And the only one I could find is a cheap Master Touch. And I'll set this a little closer so you can see it. Can you see that? I don't know if it's not right.
Mhm.
It's a number 2, but the end of it is like plastic or rubber. It's rubber, but the elastic or the masking fluid does not stick to it. So what I'm able to do, and I really like this application. One of my students gave it to me. So if I were to apply the masket to this, what I like about it, if you use the edge, it goes on with a nice thin line. Can you see that?
Mhm.
Yes.
Look how nice it applied. And I can also use it to put on a nice thick line, except there's not enough in it to do very far, but you can go with very thick. And the best part is it rubs off with a paper towel, clean and ready to go again. So I used to use brushes. I used to put soap in my brushes and then use the brush. This works 10 times better. So that's a little tip for today. No extra charge. No extra charge. And a gum, this little gummy thing is used to pick up. So once it's dry, you'll pick that right up, and take it off. And it's not quite dry yet, so there still leaves a little bit of residue there. Okay, any questions, anything that you think we should focus on today, other than this, the nose and these skin tones we're going to use with this example? Anybody?
Oh, Ron, we
Were
have
you
the hair.
also, oh, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
Okay, Rob and Susan?
Oh, I
Go
was
ahead,
saying we have a nice portrait with distinctive hair. So we're going to do the hair.
Yeah, yep.
Okay.
And I'm going to show you some unique colors for the hair and how to do blonde hair. I've experimented with a lot of different, I'm going to show you a couple today. Okay. And Susan, anything you would like for us to focus on?
Well, it's good that I let him go first because he asked my question.
Yeah, okay, very good.
Thanks.
So the answer is yes. Let me put this, what I like about this lid, if you don't get some paint in or anything, you just pour the extra right back in. And then it dries and it comes right off. But probably a lot of you guys already knew all that, but I thought maybe some of you would be interested. All right, so.
One more
nose.
thing, Ron.
What's that?
One more thing.
Yeah.
When you look at this reference and you've decided you want to paint this, could you show us or just tell us what are there maybe 5 things that you say to yourself, here are the distinct characteristics and what I want to emphasize or make sure I get right?
Yes, good, very good question. Just so you all know, I did not call him ahead of time and ask him to ask that question. Okay, so yeah, there's a number of things. Number one, this shadow, and what I did when I did it the first time, can you all, is that a full screen that you can see, or do I need to spotlight myself?
No, it's good.
Spotlighted.
You can see it?
Spotlighted.
Okay, spotlight, all right. If I can spotlight myself, I want to make sure it stays. All right, there we go. So here's some things to look for. And what I look for are the things that probably are going to be a problem for me. So that's what I look for first. Number one is the color of this shadow is very dominant. This shadow line right here, it's an awesome shape. Look at this shape. I want to make sure I get it right. Look, it goes here, goes across here, sharp line. These are somewhat soft. This is sharp because the end of the nose goes right along there, there. And I picked this and I took this portrait just to get that type of a shadow. I even asked her to kind of separate her hair a little bit. Anyway, this was a contrived, something I push for. When I paint this, what I see in here in the photograph are some muddy colors. I don't know if it shows up on your screen. So if I were to go and paint this as I see it, I'll bet I won't like it, because that's probably what I would do, is probably put a little purple in there. And down here, very dirty. But I love these shapes. Look at this little shape right here. This shape here. I mean, that's just awesome. Then you take the shoulder line, and this is the kind of shapes you look for when you do a portrait painting, because it's got it all. It also, what I'm going to watch for is the little highlight of the eye. And what I'm going to do probably is, even though there's not one on the left, I'm going to go ahead and put one there. That's what I'm probably going to do. And then, so these shapes are important. Soft, hard lines, soft. So I need to make sure that I get the hard ones hard and the soft ones soft. Duh. The other thing is, I noticed, and this is going to make a difference, is the shadow, the slight shoulder line actually starts here. So it's a suggestion here. So I got to do something to suggest there's a shoulder line. And look at this line as it comes down. It's a very sharp edge. So, and then the last shape that I think is the most important is the darkness that makes her face and shoulder three-dimensional. It's this shape right here. It's dark, goes light. So what's going to happen? The eye goes in, so you look and see that shape. And that makes the face and the shoulder come out. I've seen a lot of people paint portraits and they'll miss these important dark areas, thinking, I don't want to make it that dark. But if you keep your values straight, if you don't do that, then she will look more two-dimensional and she will not stand out. So that's a very important dark area. And then, of course, I like this dark shape here. Now, last thing is, and probably what I'll do for you today is I might start with the outside and come in. These little hairlines are part of the composition. I'm not going to put them all in there, but I'm going to use masking fluid to put some of these lines in here, because it's going to be very difficult for me to keep that while I'm painting. Probably all see that. And this is an area, this area right here is a great area for the line to disappear. So it'd be, what do you call it when it goes away, the line goes away.
Yeah, vanishing,
What's that?
vanishing.
Yeah, so this is a vanishing point opportunity, and it vanishes and goes into the background. Even though I can see it, I'm going to have that probably vanish, just because that effect is going to be really cool. I'll make this slide just slightly lighter. Now, you can flip-flop this. I've seen artists, what they'll do is the light is coming this way, and they'll do a contrast of this light and the light background light to come lighter up over here. They'll change it. That way it increases the intensity of the contrast on this side of the light. That's the kind of stuff you play with. Does that help, Rob?
Yes.
Okay. Well, anyway, that's what it goes through my mind. And I do that for every painting that I do. So any other questions before we get going? All right, let's talk first off, masking fluid. I got a little on there. I'm not going to put any, well, I say I am, I probably should.
Hey, Ron, I do have a question. This is Marilyn. When I was drawing her,
Yeah.
I noticed that you can barely see her ear. And I
That's
wonder,
right.
how do you handle that? I just figured I wasn't going to include that. It wasn't necessary information, but I'm curious how you would handle that.
I'll leave it out. And
Okay,
what I'll do is I'll put just a little bit of flesh tone in that area.
okay, thank you.
Maybe just this little shade, just to suggest there could be an ear back there. But it's unneeded. It's not important to the composition.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. And so I'm going to show you the approach I took the first time, and on purpose. First off, all those lines right here, the green lines, that's my masking fluid. So if I were to pull that off, you can see the white shows through, right? And the color choice I used, I wanted to see, because I knew it anyway, if I added a little bit of purple. But look at this color. It's just, this is almost mud. So it's got some, it's got lots of color in it. But once you add purple, then it gets out of control. Now, the way most portrait artists will do is they'll put some purple in here, but it won't be a mix. You don't mix the purple or violet with your paint on your palette. This was mixed. So what you do is you'll put a little purple up here, and so it stays purple for effect. Now, if you, I hope you get what I mean by that. If you mix purple on your palette, or as you're painting this is what you get. And I've tried to explain that a couple times, and I thought, you know what? I think the best way is just to show what happens. So this is what happens. And some of you, I've seen where this is what you get, and you don't like it. And you say, well, I saw, I know the portrait, I saw an portrait artist use violet, and I think I should use violet. So if you were to use purple, let that underlying color, either do it two ways. Add the purple color now, then come back over it with your flesh tone. So a light purple. And I'll show you, I'll demo that here in a second. Or you put your flesh tone and put a slight glaze of purple over it. Or you have purple off to the side. But here's the issue. Don't mix your paint on your palette and put your violet and then your skin tones in there to get your cold color. And that's just, anyway, that's my thing. And I wanted to show you what happened. Any questions? Okay. All right. So that's that one. Now I'm going to show you one I did yesterday. And this time I used some purple and violet, and see if you can find it, but it was used much differently. I didn't mix it ahead of time. Can you see the light violet here?
Yes.
It's there. I did not mix it with, I laid that down a little bit, and then I went over with my flesh tones so that it integrated, but it didn't cover all the purple. So it just kind of mixed, but it didn't come up with that dirty color. I like this one. This value is a little bit too dark. So I would lighten that. I would come back and lift. And down here is a little bit of purple. Again, we'll see if I grow into it. This isn't done. This was a 1 hour painting yesterday. I've learned to always paint ahead of time your demo. Yeah. Okay, here's the other thing. I want to show you the colors. I sent you a video link of mixing colors, and the link showed, I think, Aquilo paints. It's expensive paint, but it's good. I've got some. Anyway, Helix Violet. It's a Helix Red Violet is what it did. So I have it, but I wanted to use something that probably all of you had. So what I mixed was the violet I have, and I put some magenta, quinacridone magenta to that, and got it looking redder. So here's what it looks like. So there's the violet, and violet is such an intense pigment. And then here's my quinacridone magenta. I'll put it next to it. And I'm going to add just enough violet to it to get it so it's more of red violet. So that's pretty close to a red violet there. And that's this color right here. So what it looks like is that. Now, over on my warm side, I take yellow. This is lemon yellow, so this is as yellow as you can get. Don't use the Windsor yellow. It has a, you could, but what you want is something a little more stark. You can see that it doesn't really show very good on the camera. I'm looking, hope it, you can tell it's pretty yellow. Maybe if I do, there it is. You can see how yellow it is now. Okay, so if I mix a little of that with it, look how it changes to a blondish color. I love that color now. See that right here? And Marilyn, you and I have talked about, and you've tried it. So that's what I use. I just want to come back. So that's what I use here, various mixtures. And the darkest area is that, and what I did was add a touch more violet to this area right here, the dark spots. So you look at it and say, first off, most people are going to say, I would never, ever use those colors in hair. But it's amazing what you can do if you get the values right and come up with some, you can come up with your own shades. But you can see, and then by just adjusting that, and I love the color. Now, is it a photograph? Well, you all know I don't really do a lot of photograph painting, but I like the interpretation. So look how this just, I can darken that. And just run some yellow. And the lightest part is this right here with this lot. That is going to be the lightest of the yellow generally, right here. A little bit too dark, but I can lighten that with water. So it makes a nice blonde color. So that's hair, Susan.
Thank you.
And that's blonde hair. You can apply the same thing with other combinations. You can use, basically this is a complementary combination. And you can actually do hair with any of the complementary colors. And you can move a ultramarine blue and burnt sienna and move it more toward the brown, and you'll get a nice color. I have 3 dogs, and all of their hair is airborne, so I spend a lot of time picking hair out of my paintings. And if you look,
Ron, what would you use to do white hair?
Oh, white hair. So that's a good question. I like that. Let me find just a piece of paper here. There we go. So first off, white hair isn't white. So it's either going to be, the white hair is either going to move toward the bluish tint, or it's going to move more toward the ivory color. And generally it's that color. So if it is ivory, and what I do is a complementary color, I take the burnt sienna. This is what I use for beard. And ultramarine blue to So if I want it to be more on the blue side, like here. So this is going to be the dark, see that color? It's gray. And I can move that toward, that one's more toward the ivory color because I added just a little yellow to it. And I will move it over toward the brown side. So you have to look real close at what you're going to produce. That's a yellow, that's a brown. And some people color, I don't know if they do that much anymore, but some people with gray hair will have their slight blue in it. So there's your blue. And so you can go all the way to white with this. So that's what I would use. What do you think, Susan?
Well, when you went towards blue, what did you add? Just more of the ultramarine?
Okay, yeah, so let's go back. So the bird sienna, ultramarine blue,
Right?
I mix those. If I put a little more blue, it's going to tend to go to the blue side.
Okay.
So here would be the more blue side. That's this mix. If I add, if it's more toward the brown or ivory, which is a very dirty, and there's a lot of hair color, it's going to look like that. And if I want it to be more ivory, I put a touch of yellow in it. It's almost some blondes that actually have, or gray hair actually has, looks like just a little bit of blonde in it. So there's all the adjustments you can make just from ultramarine blue, burnt sienna. So that's that one and this one. If you put more blue, it's going to be here. If you put more burnt sienna, it's going to be here.
Okay.
And if I take that same combination, add a little yellow, it's going to move that color more
Right.
toward the blondish side. And
All
some
right.
people-
Thank you. I appreciate that because I live in the land of white hair.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Susan, yours has a touch of blonde to it, I think. Looks like.
Yeah, it does.
And
It's-
so actually your hair would look good with using all of those combinations. It would make it very interesting and very subtle. So and then you just take those, if the dark areas, not skin, but the underfolds of the hair, you just increase the amount of paint you put in there. So if it's darker under here, you could do something like that. It's always going to be like darker where the light isn't showing. And you can use that. Okay.
Thank you so
Okay.
much, Ron.
It
Yeah, you're
helps.
welcome.
I still think of myself as a blonde, and when I did my self-portrait, that's how I painted myself, and it didn't work out.
Well, honey,
Yeah.
you're not blonde anymore.
I know.
And
You know,
I'm not a
what's nice-
redhead
you know what's nice
anymore
about
either.
doing self-portrait is you can paint it any way you want.
All right, you be a blonde. I'm going back to red.
My wife has red hair. And I'll tell you what, that's
I
hard to
miss it.
paint. It's hard to paint. Rob, you've met her, and Jennifer, that color is hard to paint. Probably the hardest because it's not red. They call it red, but it's not red. Okay. Any other questions? I like
Something about the masking fluid. Mine is it's a light yellow,
yeah.
and I've tried some hair as you're talking here, and I like the color without removing the masking fluid.
Say that again. I think I heard you, but I want to.
Okay, the color of my masking fluid is a light yellow,
And you like that color.
and I like the color, and I don't want to take the masking fluid off.
Well,
Here,
if you
I'll show you what I'm talking about.
yeah.
Can Can you see?
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. Let me spotlight you here.
Rob, why don't you just mix up a color that looks like your masking fluid? And then,
Yeah,
This was all by accident.
yeah.
Oh,
Well,
there.
the good thing is that color like Susan says, you can match that.
yeah,
Now remember, if you enter it into a show, it'll be called mixed media.
Oh, it would. Okay.
Just so you know, in case
Yeah.
you ever would enter it, you would have to put that category as mixed media. Okay, back to fun and games over here. Any other questions? This is a great input and great discussion points that you all wanted to talk about. Anything else before we move on? Okay. So I want to show you a couple other things about the color mixes here. I really like these. Now, execution wise, it's not intended to be a finished photograph, but what I was experimenting is with the colors. I like these, see these colors over here? It's almost a yellowish, a greenish, it goes purple, and because of the blue background, it mixes in here. And I like that. I also, I would never have picked this color as the dark area. But my next step would be to probably put some blue in that area. I would try blue probably. And see if I can get it just one more shade darker. Let me get out of the way of the camera. So one more shade darker. And see how that looks. Again, this is my test. I always test all these before I do them. So I'll look at that and say, oh, I kind of like that. Now it doesn't change the purple, but I think it needs to be a little darker because I think the contrast is cool. When I say cool, I like it. Since I took my masking fluid off, I have to protect my lights here. So you see how even a little darker there really even makes her come out closer to you. Illusion. So always, when you're painting a portrait, you're looking for any of the dark shadows or dark areas that are next to her with an opportunity that will help make that more three-dimensional. That contrast is important. It's an important line, and it makes it stand out. Now, if you're a painter who paints light, that just means that this would be your darkest value. It doesn't have to be super dark. It just needs to be the darkest on your painting. Okay?
Mhm.
So some people are, just to have a class, you'll get a kick out of this, Rob. So one of the ladies said, dark colors scare me. So why is that? It's because once I have it down, I think I'm going to make a mistake, and then I have to live with it. I said, well, then I showed her this. I said, okay, there's a dark color. Don't forget, you can always soften that. So what it really boiled down to is I'm not really sure I'm confident with that. So then the discussion moved forward. What can we do that you can become more confident? And that's practice. And so anyway, that's Christy, by the way.
Oh,
So those are those colors. Now, if you start the hair, see where, oh, there she is. Those of you who are paying along. The thing with masking is make sure this, let me emphasize this for you. Make sure if you're using masking, you let it dry before you take it off, and I mean dry. It'll look dry in 20 minutes. I find that's not enough. What happens is if you take it off early, it leaves a little bit of the color on the paper. That's what happened right here. I took it off too soon. I don't know if you can see it. And it left a little bit on there. And I'm not really sure what causes that. Only thing I know is I don't like it. So anyway, I'm going to just put a few hairlines just to, you can see how thin you can get with these. Really cool. This brush. Just a nice thin line. And then I'll put a few down in here. I think, yeah, this is this. I think this is a different pose. Sure is. Oh well. Let me see. So if you're using masket, you can put that on now. And just areas that you know. Now I've seen artists that mask the whole, every light area on the hair. That's all right. Like anything else, I say more power to you, whatever works for you. I'm going to get my other reference photo here because I sent you the wrong one. But it's close enough that you've got the reference photo. Just a second, let me make sure, see if I have it. I think this may be the one I sent you. Now look at it. Is that the one I sent you?
Yep. Yes.
Yes. Oh, good. Oh, and things do work out. You let it. All right. So what I'm going to do is just for fun's sake, I love having fun at students' expense, especially at the students' expense. I'm going to start with the hair, and I'm going to come back into it. So I'm going to clean my palette off. I'll probably use some of those paints that, hair is probably not something I want to. Oh, I forgot to mention that. Yesterday, a student gave me a color that she uses. I've seen it, I've never used it. It's called Manganese Blue View. It's a Winsor Newton professional grade paint pigment. Anyway, I'm going to, I haven't used it, but you're going to be my guinea pig today. I'm going to try that on a couple of different places and see if, you might like it. So you never know what I'm going to pull in these classes, So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to get out my silver brush. So I love the black velvet silver. Again, this is more of a quill type of a brush. It's a number 14. See that nice point? Anytime I'm putting a lot of paint on, I'll use that one or some of the other quills because it has so much paint in it. I notice a lot of my students, when they mix paint, they don't mix much paint in the palette. They don't plan ahead and say, I'm going to need a lot of paint. So what happens is they don't mix enough, and then they end up having to catch up and try to mix some more. And plus, they can't fill their brush up. So anyway, I think I'll use the I'll try this, then I'll maybe move over. This is the Princeton Neptune brush that I bought at Florida Watercolor Society convention when it was live 3 years ago. I got this for half price there. They always have awesome deals. If you, nothing else, it's worth going just to get the discounts, 50% off.
What size is that one, Ron?
This is a number 9. Which way you look at? Yeah, it has to be a 9, the size. Now keep in mind on all brush sizes, it's relative, the size is relative to the manufacturer. A 9 on this brush may not be a 9 on this brush. There's a silver. This is a golden Taklon quill. And it's a 12, but man, it looks like it's bigger. So all these, so when you hear somebody say, so like here's a Raphael Kalinsky, and this is a number 9. So,
And I have the number 8 Princeton Neptune, and my 8 looks larger than your 9.
Well, I think that's
Yeah.
because his is a quill. I've got a Princeton Neptune 16, which I love because it holds a whole lot.
This is a quill. Mine's a quill as well.
yeah,
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
just their ultra round or,
Yeah.
yeah, Neptune.
But see how big mine looks?
I can't
Uh,
see.
And it's the quill.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
yeah. Okay, I can say it. Yeah, it's huge.
I know, and it's a number 8.
Yeah. So what you have to do, you have to be careful when you hear the instructor. You say, well, what brush you're using? It's all kind of relative. But
Well, I
that's-
do love it.
I'm going to go to the silver, and I have no idea what this says. It says 80 on it, 80. Obviously, that must be another. So these silver, a lovely silver brand, well constructed, but I just don't understand. I guess I'll look up why the sizing is all over the map. But anyway, as we digress, I'm going to do a little bit of ultramarine blue here for the background. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to slowly move into the hair color. Okay. So this is my background. And I'm going to kind of make it somewhat light. I'm not going to get too dark. But I love the combinations you get with these colors. I don't know if you can see that. I hope it's showing up for you. I'm going to take it on into where the hair is on my reference photo, the background color. And while it's very wet, and that's what I like about this, it holds lots of paint. So I'm going to use that color I used before, violet with a little red, then lemon yellow, pure lemon yellow. And I'm going to start introducing a little bit over here. See that shade there? Just look at that. I just love that combination. So it's kind of, I'm going to just let it flow into here and slowly introduce that color without cleaning out my brush. I don't clean my brush out. So I'm introducing that color to the point where I'm going to go over. I'm going to paint this painting a little bit lighter than I normally do. And the reason for that is that you can see the colors much better and how they're mixed. If I paint it real dark, it's often hard to tell. I just went ahead and dipped in there in some of that yellow, dipped in some of that purple I had. And as it comes over, I love that color. I don't know if you can see that. That's a dirty yellow. That's what I see kind of across here. I'm going to leave those white specks in there. So it's a nice, look how it's just a soft, it goes into the hair. I like that technique. And then I'm going to stay with the hair for a while. And I'm going to put in some of my dark spots of the hair. And I'm going to use that color. If you are a little afraid of that, you can dull it down a little bit with burnt sienna. And then see, it's real dark right in here. So I'm just going to capture that. So we're doing the hair first. And I'm going to let that go into purple. So I'm going to go right along that line. It's a sharp line. I'm going to go ahead and put that in. And that's a mixture of violet and magenta. So if you have red, there's another dog hair. That's great. I love that. And I got to fix, I went over the line there a couple of times. I got to fix that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to allow that to move to the blue in here. And then I'm going to go back to the violet and then to the yellow. And while it's still wet, I'm going to see if I can lift some of that just to suggest with a damp brush. See, I'm just going to lift some of that. So when it dries, I'm also going to fix her nose because I guess this, you can say I did this on purpose. No, I didn't, but at least it gives you a chance. So I missed a couple of the lines before that dries. This is still very wet. So it goes right along here. And then let me know if I get my head in the way. I get a little carried away. Just say, Ron, your head's in the way again. Just something mild like that, you know. There we go. Oh, I like that. Look, I did my paper towel. See that? That was by accident. Gave me some texture down here I like. Huh. Paper towel. Gave me some hair texture. Gonna come back and darken that a little bit. There we go. I don't know if anybody caught the paper towel technique. Wouldn't plan on it. I guess I'm gonna have to turn the fan off. Anyway, I got something that looks like this. Anyway, pretty stark colors, but I kind of like where I started. I love this area up here. I can decide later if I'm going to go darker there, and I always can use those same colors. But I like the violet is very intense. If you don't want to do that, alternative is to move it more toward the black with ultramarine blue or any of the complementary colors. If you have, you know, some professional grade paint, I can subdue that purple by putting a little of that on it. And I picked purple only because I just want to do something different for this class. There we go. Anyway, that's kind of looking kind of cool, I think. That's just me saying. How are you guys doing? Anybody painting?
Yes?
Yes.
Anybody
You want to take a look?
Yeah, let's take a look. Let me remove my
I
spotlight.
don't have a face, but I got hair.
Hold on, let me spotlight this for everybody. Okay, yeah, I like that. Now, the masket you put didn't really go with the flow on your right side, our left. That's, see those lines, but we can always cover those up. Those lines, well, then you could have hair stranded, the hair goes like that. Now that you say it, never mind. That's very good. I love the color choices and the softness and the blending.
Yeah, I think I got your wife's red hair though, color.
Yeah, what colors are those? I gotta remember that.
No, here they are. These over here remind me of her.
Yeah, that's definitely my wife's hair color. Is that the burnt sienna?
Yes, mostly
Red?
with
Red.
some violet.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else want to share?
Mine's very purple.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's see, the blending of those colors are nice. And I like it. I like it a lot. I'm just looking and following along. So as the first set of values, those hues are very nice. That's a nice blondish hue. I think I'll pay off for you.
Thank you.
And of course, Darla, you probably don't have your paints with you.
I do have a little paint tray, but I only have 90-pound paper. It was the most frustrating thing in the world doing noses,
Yep.
mouths, and
Yep.
ears on 90 pound. I can show you what I did on those.
Oh, I was looking at it on the wall. Oh,
Can you-
hold on, let me highlight you.
I did 4 different mouths.
Very nice. Look here, buddy. Can you turn that around? So, yeah. Great values. Let me see the one with the teeth. That's really nice. Yeah.
When I
Donna?
went to darken the teeth, I lost my line that defined
Yeah.
the teeth.
Yeah.
That's the darn frustrating thing. Here's my ears.
Oh, nice. Nice nose. Very good. You know, with the teeth though, sometimes you don't want any sharp lines.
I know. I know.
At a distance at 15 feet where you're supposed to see it.
Here's my noses. This is the uppy nose. This is the straight across, and this one is the downy nose.
Yeah.
This needs more definition in it according to my sample, but 90-pound paper, it crumbles. And this one is an X out because I did it this way.
Yeah.
So
I bought
that's
some
what I
90-pound
did.
paper too, thinking that I could use it for practice and girls will be using it.
Okay.
Anybody
I'm
else
gonna
want
have to go. The family's getting ready to do an outing, and I really, really appreciate you, Ron, and all that you've taught us. And you taught me to go deeper in values that I would have never done, but I really like it now that I'm doing it. Thank
Good.
you.
Very good. And if you have a
Thank you.
chance, please fill out the evaluation form.
I will.
Okay.
I will.
And you
Okay.
take care.
Bye-bye.
Helen, you want to show yours?
I didn't have time to draw mine out, so I'm not
Okay.
doing it.
All right. Okay, so let's move on. We spotlight myself. Darla, you take good care of yourself. It's nice to see you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, so I backed it up just a little bit, give you a flavor, but the first set of values, I kind of like that. That will be the lightest. And I'm not too wild about the purple. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back in and change that a little bit. And I'm going to put mostly burnt sienna because it has a little bit of yellow, and with burnt sienna having a little bit of yellow, it's the complement of purple, right? So I think they'll subdue it a little bit. We'll see if it works. You can decide. I love these brushes. And I think that's working. So using burnt sienna has yellow in it. It's the opposite of violet. And it is, I think, doing a nice job of doing that. And it also plays well with these colors here. So what do you think? Doesn't that look better? The answer is yes.
Yes.
Good. Just making sure. You can do that kind of stuff when you're an instructor. That's why I'd sometimes rather be the instructor than anyway. Put a little light spot in there. Okay. Now, what would you like for us to do next? You get to choose. What's next? You want to keep working on the hair?
Yes.
Okay. Now I'm going to, because I experiment, I'm going to take that purple, add burnt sienna to it. Let's tone that down a little bit. And then looking at my palette, I kind of like that because if I mix it with yellow, I still get that color I like. So here's see, I mixed that with some burnt sienna. I like that color. It's darker in here. I'm just going to try to read my, and I just keep mixing that. This one goes like that. So that's this color here, that red violet that I mixed, and adding yellow and burnt sienna. And it gives me, I think, just kind of the color I think I want. I'm thinking it is. So it gives you kind of idea of how you play with this, especially if this is a practice one where I think it's important, unless you're really good. I always kind of practice. So I'm going to kind of mix some different shades. They're added just a little bit as it goes here to match the background. And this is all very much a flowing. His hair all flows this way. So just try to match that. And let's see if I can get this color I need in here. This will take some brush strokes. There it is. That's what I wanted. And then what I'll do, just mix some little dark, a little touch of blue in there. Then I'm going to come back with a damp, clean brush and lighten with the side of my brush to soften the edges a little bit. And this kind of getting into what I want. I'll come back later and fix those white lines. I like this brush. Look how pointed you can get with that thing. So I see the folds of the hair. And I like the way that came out. And then I'll go over and address this dark area over here. It shows a continuation. Some people ask, do you always start dark, go light? The answer is, it depends. That's always the standard instructor talk. I know it. I've learned instructor talk a little bit. So I'm getting that darker. What I'm doing is just painting the shapes I see. I'm going to soften that edge here a little bit more. I hear people painting. That's good. So I'll keep fiddling with the hair, and I won't finish it until I get the other values established on the face. The hair is not the focus, but the supporting character in this story. So I'm going to, that still doesn't look like, yeah, I guess it is. Trying to think, I may have missed something here, probably did. Anyway, I'm working on getting my colors. Now, what I'm going to try is I'm going to use as a test that magnesium blue. I have no idea, but I'm just going to see what that looks like using it for skin tone, for the darker area of the skin tone. So I'm going to use Indian yellow, that has a little red in it or orange in it. A little bit of the Brazilian magenta, which has a little bit of blue in it. I'm going to put a little opera rose, but it has a lot of pink in it. And you can see those skin tones I have right now. I like the skin tone. I'm going to put yellow down here, even though I'm not going to use yellow per se. So if I go across here, you can see there's the tone I'm getting right there, mixing them like that. So I want to see what happens if I put just a little bit of that magnesium in there. There's a little magnesium. Let's see how that, if it darkens it or it becomes muddy. I think we need to go just a little bit of red, then with magnesium. Hopefully, I've got myself. That looks pretty dirty to me. I don't know.
Ron, could I ask you your second color? You said Indian yellow, and then you said something, and then opera rose, and then manganese blue.
Indian yellow, magenta, that's an acronym.
Magenta, thank you.
Mhm. That's kind of an interesting tone with just a touch of that manganese blue. I don't know. Let's see what that looks like. A good place to try it is right here on. Let's try it on the shadow there. Because it's a hard line. And yes, I would probably do the under colors first for all this thing. Don't always have to. I kind of liking that in a way. It's not too dirty. I'm going to mix just a little bit of my Indian yellow with it just to get it to go a little more lighter up there in that area where I see it's lighter. I think I might like it. Then I'll pull that paint over with a brush that has Indian yellow in it. Indian yellow. Let's see if that does it. Yeah. Indian yellow along that edge. So it blends right here. And get that shape right. Huh. Let me zoom in on this. So you get to experiment with me. There we go. Yeah, see that color now? So it has a slight blue in it. It's got the Indian yellow. It's got to be the magenta in it. And then just a dab of that blue, which is magnesium blue hue. You can hardly see it, but it just gives it just a little bit, actually kind of interesting what it does there. Then what I did is I started with the Indian yellow up here at the top and blended that in as it went down. So I get that gradated look. So you can see how it's drying. Let's see if I can blend that a little bit more. That's good. Here's an example of leave it alone. Leave it alone. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, that's kind of an interesting color to use. I'm gonna use that same color up here on the shadow that's here. On the nose, Indian yellow. And that shape is very soft. And I'm going to soften it by putting a little Indian yellow on the edge of that, not just, sometimes you just put a dry brush. What I do is I put some color in there instead of just being a total dry brush. It gives it a much different effect. Oh, wait, that's the light part. I screwed up. Look at that. That's supposed to be the lightest part. I missed it. But I'm glad I used those colors because those do not stain. They come right off. So I got that back off. This is the area that gets dark. All right, Ron, here we go. Something didn't look right about that. And I'm going to carry that right down in here. And then you just kind of get it, you have to be careful not to overwork it to get those values where you need them to be. And this has a soft edge. Yeah, that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted. Still wet, so it's going to soften up nicely. And I'm going to leave that and put another value on this a little bit later. Not, I'm going to get a cauliflower or a blossom. Sure, it's gonna give me a blossom. Telephone.
I'll get it, I'll get it.
Okay, get it. So if you come back from that, from a distance that we're supposed to do, it begins to start to take shape I'm looking for. A lot of work yet to do on that, but I'm looking, primarily looking at the colors, see if I like them. I think I do. I like those different shades. But this is a great example of playing and, you know, trying different colors. It's always about the two warm colors plus a cold. And so this is still the Indian yellow with magenta, and the cold is that that red violet I had with a touch of magnesium. But this is, I'm letting that dry because I don't want to get a blossom, and I've already got one forming there already. So I think it's dry enough. Yeah. Okay, this time I'm going to try a little magenta and burnt sienna and a little bit of Indian yellow. I'm going to see if that does what I need right here. Yeah, it does. Still a little bit wet, so it's going to for one of you all had more fun than this in a long time. So I'm going to let that dry a little bit. Again, experimenting with the colors. As they dry, they change a little bit. This has gotten just a little bit muddy, maybe. So I'll keep that in mind as I apply the next shade. I like this shade, and that's probably going to be my background color right there. It's going to be my background color, I think. And I'm going to add just a slight That color is dead on as far as the color of their hair right there. That was that mixture with this old birch sienna. So I'm gonna let that dry. I've already overworked it. I'm gonna come up to the eye. I'm gonna use a number, it's a number 1. And this one's by Jack Richardson. I have no idea where I got this brush, but I just pulled it out. Only because it's long, so it's got plenty of paint on it, but it's small. So I'm going to come up and see if I can read these eyes. Looks like it's got blue. I'm going to go ahead and use that magnesium blue for eyes. See what that looks like. Magnesium blue. Excuse my head. Sometimes you just gotta get your hand situated. Something like that. I'm gonna come back and lift that. This one's gonna be a much stronger blue. I say stronger, lots of more blue in the pigment. Ooh, I like that magnesium. It's almost a little bit turquoisey. She'll grow into those eyes. Oh, well, I'm kind of liking it. And you don't hear me say that too often. I'm kind of liking it. Now, if I talk too much, just let me know. Just mute me. That's what you do. Just mute it.
I like it when you talk through what you're doing.
Oh, good. Okay. Now, I'm going to put some, this is black on this eyelid. I'm going to go ahead and do this dark area. I'm always changing things up all the time. This is ultramarine blue. It's my traditional black. Always my go-to black. Ultramarine blue and burnt sienna. And at the top of this, I'm going to put a little magenta and orange here right on the top of this, so it doesn't end in a black edge. It'll end with a reddish edge to it on this black, on the top side of this shape of the eyelash. So I put a little red in there. It ends on, you can see that. Let me zero in a little bit. Yeah. See, we're at the top of that shape. I put some magenta in there, orangey magenta. And then you'll see a little bit, I'm gonna lift that, and what happens is underneath will be that color. And then this is the opposite, it goes darker up here for the eyelash. So if I lift that, right here, just lighten up that edge a little bit, soften this edge, that color is going to be more of a pinkish color. See that? That's going to be more pinkish. And then up here, this is going to be lifted a little bit, just to suggest that upper eyelid. See that? Just lift that here. And since I put red down, when I lift it, it's now going to take on that hue. Kind of like that. So you step back from it and say, that looks like something. If you're not careful, you might have yourself a painting. Then it's got that that opera pink color down here that I really like. I'm gonna just go ahead and put that pinkish orange right here. And sometimes I do that just so I'm getting the reference. You know, I think that's not right. Comes around here. I think I missed something. Oh, it's the drawing. Okay. That's more like it is. It's light right here. Something like that. I'm just going to give this just a little, so much, some texture on the eye over here. It's pretty dark. And then I'm going to find myself some neutral mud, that gray mud. Purple, I'd like for it to be gray. There's it. Okay. I'm going to put some mud on her eye. Hope she's not listening. It's going to be a slightly blue. So anyway, I'm putting some mud on her eye. Yeah, that's what I want. Boy, when you go this close to the camera, you really gotta be careful with students see. Man. Shapes I like. There it is. I like that. That's coming out pretty decent. Let's see what it looks like from a distance. It's believable. Yep, it's believable. Always use believable. If I can live with it. And then I missed a spot, but I had a little of this left. This dark area here goes under while I was doing that. I missed that indent right here. Which probably is kind of probably not quite that much. Yeah, right first time. Yeah, welcome to my world. Let's go ahead and put some color in there. So I can, that way I can really check this shape out.
Your head, Ron.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
I told you, I told you to say, get your big head out of the way, but Susan, you're always nice. There we go. So something about that I just don't like. I think the drawing's off. But, okay. We're going to let that slide for now and see what happens. A lot of times you worry about these details and later on you find out that's not really worth your time. Yeah, okay. Got a lot of work to do on the nose yet. But I had a little diversion to work on the eyes. And I kind of like how that's coming out. I did leave a little highlight there in her eyeball. Does anybody want to do some show and tell and just let me know. I'd love to see your work. So we got that's black right there, and that's going to be black. That's going to be it. Then I'm going to soften some of that black up a little bit with some magenta. So I can use this. I'm not going to leave it a dark heavy line quite as much as I see in the. Once my palette gets pretty muddy, I'll just clean it up and start over. And it's just getting there right now. So those don't spend a whole lot of time, but getting the values generally right, then come back and kind of adjust them. So it's pretty close. And then I use that that muddy water I had, and just like. Give it some dimension. area where I see a little bounce light, put a little orange in that section right here. Because it looks a little orangey to me. So what it does, it gives it a little more effervescent or transparent shade to that color. Yeah, I think it's, you can pick it up pretty good on that. There we go. Orange. Right along here. I'll come back in with, but see how it kind of glows now a little bit compared to this area over here. I think I'm wanting it to glow a little bit. That's what I use. I'll use orange in there, and it gives it that glow look. Okay, let's do a little show and tell.
Okay, I got troubles with the mouth.
I've heard about that. Okay.
And I took off the masking lotion.
Hold on, let's see if I can spotlight there.
Can you see that, Ron?
I'm going to show it to everybody else.
Oh,
Okay, yeah, I'm ready. Yeah.
Put it back on?
I can see it now. Okay, let's first talk about the hair. I love the hair, the darkness on that right side. The mouth,
it didn't go the right way.
it got, the shape was a little off and it got too muddy, too dark.
Yeah.
The eye looks pretty credible, but that's, yeah, the hair color I like. And then I think you just have to, you can lift some of that and see if you can lift the bottom lip, that color.
Okay. What do you think of this?
I love that color. I love it.
All right.
It's beautiful. It looks so soft and skin tone. Beautiful. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You did good on that for sure, big time. Anybody else? As we make fun of, I mean, as we look at what you're doing.
Okay,
Well, I've been working on me. Oh, go ahead, go ahead, Marilyn.
that's all right.
No, go ahead.
Ignore the background. That was just, I was playing with something.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. I like, what color were you using on the here? It looks like that.
I have found, and you know, I've been doing a lot of blondes lately, and I have found that the yellow isn't working for me. So I went to raw sienna and I like it a lot. It looks a little more, I don't know. I don't know. It seems to be working okay.
Raw sienna has yellow in it, so that would
Yes.
work.
Yeah.
Very good. Kat, nicely done. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
I got a kick out of the background though.
Oh, you like that?
Yeah, well, it's distracting, but I like it.
Well, like I said, I was experimenting with, you know.
If you put a
well,
glaze over that, subdued glaze, it might be.
It
just
will.
fine.
Yeah, that's just the first kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, I can relate. Who's
No
next?
guts, no glory.
Oh, Helen, you ready?
Okay, I'm doing myself again and trying to get this hair, but I still have it way too yellow.
I don't know. You know, you got a long way to go yet. I think as a base, that's good. You can always now start picking it up a little bit. Don't put any purple on any of that face there now.
I'm not.
But actually, you got the shapes, the values are starting to come in nicely. I like it, Helen. So I love that color up on the forehead of the shadow. That orangey just is just warm enough for a shadow. And I like that you did not make it all one color. I like the way you blended that and keep that interesting too. The hair color, I really like the gray you're using. I I don't know if you're more on the ivory side or not.
Well, I put just a touch of yellow in it and it turned it very yellow, I thought.
Well, as you can lift a little bit of it, but remember depends on the overall painting. If you look at it by itself, it'll look yellow, but when you step back from the whole thing, things all kind of colors move together. So I think it's early to say it's too yellow.
Well, this is still another practice round, so
That is correct.
I'm learning.
I love the ear, very good shape of the ear. Everything is coming together nice. Great. You picked out the key shapes and the values that you begin to put in there. So that's looking good. Now, don't forget, I think you got a couple more wrinkles, don't you, Helen?
A few.
Good job. Wow.
Okay.
It's really coming together nice. Anybody else?
My lady's falling apart.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, well, let's see. I like
Looks like somebody punched her in
on
the
your
nose.
mark done, so don't beat you up too hard. Which I know. Yeah, yeah, it's not done. I think the values are getting closer with, you just have to watch real close at your reference photo on that nose. Looks like they got a couple shapes that are wrong. But I
The
love, yeah, the shapes. They're in the nose. And see, just check your reference photo and see if that's right. And then I love the color of the hair. It's really a nice subdued. You can always come back in with some more color, but it's just, you got the shapes nice. It's quite creditable. Very good. I like it. Okay. Okay, Patty, the teacher's pet.
I did not for some reason, I didn't get any of the files, but I've been working on my grandson.
That's okay. Ah, nice. Very, very nice. Okay, look at your reference photo. You have a reference photo where you can see it? Okay. Aha, okay. So, look very close. I'll look first at the expression. Look at the mouth and see if you have it wide enough.
Oh, okay.
Looks like that line goes a little further over on the left and the right. Okay.
Okay.
And then the shape of the eye, look at your reference photo, and on your painting, it looks like you got the iris too big, too large.
Okay.
So this little, and both of them, the irises. So, but anyway, the values are quite nice. And the shape of the nose, look and see if you got that shape on the nostril, above the nostrils there.
Okay.
So, but I tell you what, I do like the color of the skin.
Thank you.
Very nice. And then all you gotta do is just look a little closer at your reference photo.
Okay.
Remember, you're painting shapes, and make sure you get those shapes. Every one of those shapes you put on looks like your reference photo. Nicely done, Patty, and you're definitely the teacher's pet today.
Thank you. My concern was under the nose. It just felt so dark, but when you step back, I see it.
Yep.
Thank you.
That's through these rounds to perfect it, and every round you get 10 times better. It seems like almost, I mean, it's drastic. If you really pay attention, look at your reference photo and step back. Very cool. Yeah, we've got some, we actually have people making tons of progress. If you guys aren't careful, you're gonna be winning shows that I want to win. So, okay, so we got 15 minutes, just a couple of things. So if you could, make sure, you don't have to do it now, make sure you do your evaluation. You can send that back to me, take a picture of it, or I send it to you, I think, in a Word document and a PDF. So I do use that. We like to use the input. A couple of things I think you may be interested in. I'm not sure if we're going to stay with the Zoom format for the Sunday confabs, but Frank Spino will be with us this Sunday. He's going to be sharing a little bit about changing up a little bit of the formats you use when you paint. Most of us tend to paint to the frame. You know, you find a frame, you stick with it, and it limits us. And talk a little bit about how you think about that. And also it gives you a chance to bounce some ideas off of him. He's been in a lot of shows, so if you want to show something you're working on and say, I'd like to bounce that idea off of you, that'd be a good time to do it. And that's why I put the Zoom format, because it's hard to do that with some of the others. You can't see the pictures. And then Terry Denson will be live with us the next Sunday. And these are free, no charge. They're 1 hour. They'll be punchy. And Dana Day Dodge, I don't know if any of you know her. She's an amazing portrait artist, and she does lots of underpaintings. And what I've asked her to do, and she said maybe, she gave me a quick lesson on how to paint people in your painting small. You ever see paintings with small people in the background?
Oh,
Awesome. It gives you some tips on how to paint those people and make it look credible. Anyway, she'll be here on the 5th to share. So if you get a
Ron?
chance, yes.
Ron, do we have a link to this?
Yeah, I sent you a link. I will send you a link to it. Yeah, I haven't
Thank
sent
you.
that link. I haven't sent that link. And last week I forgot to send one the morning of the session, but I'll send you a link. And then we have some other artists I'm talking to that all of them I know, and I'm picking out some things that they do that I think would be of interest to you. Just share their tips and their techniques. And instead of, I don't know about you, but when I watch a demo or take a workshop, it's just so much. And I'm really after just, if I could just learn one little thing, and that's what this is geared to, is just a couple little things that are tips and tricks or things, methods that you can apply, no more than a couple, instead of being inundated and don't remember anything. So that's the idea. And it's just another opportunity for us to network with some of the people that I know, like you all. So really encourage you to be a part of it. Only 1 hour, so it won't interrupt your nap, Rob. Should be able to do that fine. Okay. Let's see what else I got. I also have this class will continue. Those of you who are interested, it begins next week. I think there's a problem with the pay thing on there. I was looking at this morning. If you're interested, again, no pressure. You can sign up online. And if you click there's a little button that says previous students. If you go that way, you'll get a $20 discount off the, it's $100, but so it'll be $80 for you. What I want to focus on this next session, just based on you all and the other class I had, is what I'm going to do is focus on a painting you're doing, okay? And this will not be a painting for a show because it won't be eligible for most shows since you're going to be doing it in a workshop. But I want us to focus on one painting and one painting alone that you're working on. Whether you screw it up or not, we're going to stick with that painting all the way through from the planning. And what I like to do is on the first day is talk about how you plan out and looking at the reference photo and think about how you're going to approach that. I want to really hone in on that. It's a weakness that some of the other students, some students I have who just start painting and never really consider how to plan it out, how to be thinking about it, which also includes, thinking about, the values that are in there that you want to make sure that you hone in on, which the values are used to create the shapes. And also color selection. Start thinking about what colors that you're going to mix, and we'll test some on a test strip. So it's going to be just a notch down in detail. Get down into your painting, and then the techniques that we're going to use that you have mastered, and say, Ron, let's say we decided that we were going to use a little dry brush on the hair. And so, we'll talk a little bit about that and then have you practice it. But instead of it focus on my painting, it'll be focused on your painting and go through that process. So at the end, we will finish your painting, and you will be able to capture, I think, some very applicable things that by using your painting, you'll feel more like that it's definitely something that you can apply. So, but that's, it may not be for everybody, but that's what that class is going to be about. I'm also starting a class. I had 4 people approach me, so I know we got 4. It's going to be a watercolor basics, and I haven't got it listed, but it's for more for beginners, more for those that want to go back. And what I'm going to do is talk about a little more about the technique of glazing, edges, layers on layers, how to use the brush. Let's see, I may have this. Let's see if I can put this up. Hold on a second. There it is. Oh, I knew I wrote it down. We're going to talk about brush choices, and I'm going to go through.
Ron, is this on Zoom also, or is that a class in person?
It's Zoom. It's Zoom.
So, okay.
It'll be on Tuesday mornings. But anyway, it'll be on brush choice. And what I'm going to show you the difference between synthetic hair, the sizes of the brush, the points. We're going to use an atomizer, and we're also going to use an airbrush. And there's some of you have been testing the atomizer, and Helen probably could teach that section. Then, on watercolor pigments options, I want to talk about, it seems to be a discussion that based on questions I get asked about what paint to use. And again, it all depends, but I want to talk a little bit about what your options are, and based on your options, what your output's going to be. There's a huge difference between professional grade and intermediate grade and student grade on the paint, what it produces. You don't notice it when you first start, but then you're finding out you're having trouble really coming up with a deep black. And what I found out is that they're using a student grade, and there's just not enough pigment in there to get you that nice deep black. Of course, then what they do is they go to the student grade black already done, which has another problem. So anyway, I want to talk about that paper selection, and I want us to explore UPO, why people use UPO and the effects you get from it. And most of the papers are cotton. We talk a little bit about how to care for it, even how to iron it when you're done. You iron it to flatten it, and it's really cool. And also, we're going to experiment with putting gesso on our paper and see what that produces, and also the use of rice paper and all the different effects you can get by changing up the type of paper you use. And I've experimented all that. I'll kind of show you what I've learned and give you some ideas. And then we're going to talk about masking fluid and the application tips, a little bit of what I talked about today. into it about a little bit of kind of like what you did, Helen, for the autonomizer of layering. And we'll experiment just with a small one of using masket fluid to control the layering. And that'll be, and we'll use the notenizer to distinguish the values. I want to go into detail about the photos you take, how you select them, what you look for, how you take them, and how you compose them when you take the photo. And then how you transfer that either with a projector, tracing paper, or with a bunch of others. But then also we're going to cover, like each one of these is a session, color mixing. I still get lots of questions about mixing and how to mix, and not just from the beginners. And I think, at least for me, I'm continually learning that. And the last one is almost the most important one. And it's because of what I've learned is there's so many different ways of putting paint on with a brush. I just got the biggest kick out of that of watching. Yesterday I had a class and I just observed how they used the brush, and I just wanted to stop right there and say, wait a minute, you're only scratching the surface of how you can use that brush. They never learned how to tilt it. They didn't know how to, you can load two colors in a brush, two different colors in a brush and give you a glow. So anyway, we're going to cover that. All right, enough of the sales pitch. Not really a sales pitch, but just those are also topics that on your own personal time, you ought to, if you don't take the class, it's not about that. I just want you to know it's there. But these are topics I think are worth talking about.
Ron, when does this one start?
It'll be on Tuesday. I may start it if we can get the class going either this coming Tuesday or the Tuesday following. So if you have any preferences on what Tuesday to start, let me know. But
Ron, can you go back to the slide on the Sunday shows that you're going to do? I just wanted to get that information.
Okay. Anyway, the 22nd.
There it is. Yeah,
22nd
got it.
You see it?
Yeah, got it.
French Peanut, 22nd, and Google them. You see the kind of work they do.
That's what I wanted to do.
You may all know these people. They're very well known in the watercolor community. And Dana, Terry was the president of Florida Watercolor Society 2 years ago.
And she has great tips. And this past week, I've been doing a study on small figures. So I'm very interested in this Dana Dodge.
Good. Okay.
Dana's wonderful.
Terry,
Yeah.
let
Dana
me
and Terry both.
copy Denson.
Yeah. All three of them are good teachers.
Yes.
And the last one, Dana Day Dutch. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. And any of you who would like to share, let me know. You have something you would like to feature, we'll put you on the schedule. So it's dynamic. I have a couple of people, Kathy Durden,
Yep.
lined up. So there's others I have lined up. I just don't have the final commitment date for them yet. And all of them are really good teachers, and I've seen them demo. So what I'm asking are specific things to cover, not do a demo. And what I will do is either they will do it live or I'll videotape them ahead of time, and then they'll answer questions or go on with more demo of that, whatever it is that we're interested in. So that's kind of the idea. So it'll be very dynamic and flowing. Some of it, we won't know what happens till we get started. So anyway, that will start. So that's this Sunday. I'll send you all links. And Frank is amazing.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
He's crazy good. Let's just put it that way. Crazy good.
Yep, he really is.
He's a good friend. He's helped me a lot. Helped me get into the Aquarella show in Italy, and so just a great guy.
Are you taking that trip to Italy, Ron?
Oh no, I had scheduled, but just can't do it. My wife has just been not feeling good, so I just don't feel. But next year I'd like to go.
All right.
It's over now. Everybody said it was awesome. So anyway, okay, over and out. Anybody have any closing questions, comments, or insults? And you want to insult other people online? That's good. Anybody?
Just
Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to looking at all of the Zoom videos again, so I
Okay.
can make up for what I lost here.
All right. Okay, I'll get them on there. And if you have any questions, give me a call. Be glad to just sit and talk to you one-on-one.
great.
And I
Thank
look-
you, Ron.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for everything.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Ron.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Bye.
Oh, the end of a great session. I need to go. Bye.
Bye.